Hey guys, Carricksit here with another review. This time I'll be using the Maryu Brace Deluxe Drago timer from Kamen Wizard. This is a special device created together by Kamen Wizard and the White Wizard that lets Wizard harness the power of the Dragon Phantom, aka the Wizard Dragon, in two different ways. So this set includes three things: the Drago timer and two wrist straps, or a wrist strap and a palm strap. So we've got here, it's small and has a rather simple design. However, of note is that it does make a unique, does make another unique use of the kind of hand motif that's been going for Wizard's gear, where the Wizard Driver used a flat-out hand and the Wizard Sword Gun used an opening and closing hand. The Drago timer uses a hand with a clicking thumb, similar to how a hand would use a stopwatch. Up here on this front part, you have a kind of a pedestal that looks like a ring with a rubbery kind of smoky clear plastic dragon on it. And as you can see, there are some nice details to make it resemble the Wizard Dragon, even with a couple of little dragon claws here. As well as some nice rune-like symbols around it. And they still have the studded pattern on this part. And on this part, you have a dial here with 4 zones for the 4 elements: flame, water, hurricane, and land, and that'll come into play with the main gimmick. And surrounding it, you have this bezel in chrome silver. The hand itself is obviously black and gold, and like with the Wizard Sword Gun, it's just a painted gold and not chrome gold like the Wizard Driver. You got the speaker here and the on and off switch here. And you have the 2 straps that are down here and a little bit of foam padding just for the sake of the wrist. This takes bun cell batteries, so they're included with the toy, meaning you don't have to go and buy batteries and put them in. You can just play with it right out of the box. So I'm gonna just put this on real quick, and I'll be trying to just show out the functions while wearing it. So just hold on for a little second. And okay, one thing I like to do is, because of how it's able to, one thing I like to do is kind of tie up the first strap and then slide my hand through, like so, and then put on the other strap, which is, well, that's the kind of thing that I'd really need to kind of get off screen for. And so like that, we have it on. So to start off, we can turn it on with the on switch right here. And you'll want to pay attention not to this part, but to this part, because this is where the lights come from. So one of the cool things about using a plastic like this is that basically the light in here kind of gets channeled through to different parts, so it lights up. Even though it's not shining directly onto parts like the wings and the head, it kind of gets channeled into them, so it lights up the whole thing. So the gimmick here is that this part here is a wind-up timer. And so that's where all the functionality comes from. So to start, you take this and wind it up until the dial is in the center of the flame zone. And get that sound, which is a standby for the functions. Then to start up, you click down the thumb. You'll notice that the color changes as it enters each zone. When it gets back to the flame zone, it'll go into final time mode. And from there, you can press down the thumb again. And so, the other part of the gimmick is that for the main toy itself, what sound you get during final time depends on how many times you click down the thumb while it's spinning and going through the different zones. So you'll get that sound if you just don't click it in any zones. Next thing you do is to click it while in the water zone. So you get that. And clicking while in the water and hurricane zones gets you this sound. So there you have 1-mation, 2-mation, and 3-mation, and if you don't think those are words, that's because they're not, and this is just something that kind of annoys me, because as you'll see with this last sound, it's supposed to be a pun, but it doesn't actually work, because mation is not something you can just add to the end of a word. So now I'll click it down in all 3 of the zones. So as you hear that, it says dragon formation, and so that's supposed to be upon 1, 2, 3, 4, but it just doesn't work, and it I don't know, it's just it's just a kind of a personal pet peeve of mine to do something like that. So another thing you can do is that there's actually a 4th sound for this, and it's when you press the button while it's in the flame zone. And what I like to do is basically to kind of hold it and prevent it from going while starting it. Then so as you can see, by pressing down this while in the flame zone, you get a flame dragon sound, and that's not actually required for any sound, it's just a little extra. There's also another little thing that you kind of don't get to hear because of the mechanism, and I'll just show that right here. Running in the background while the mechanism goes off is a continuous ticker. and it continues within each zone. So there's that, and then this can also work with the wizard driver, as the thing about this little puzzle part is that it's actually a built-in ring. And since this is for the right hand, it works only in magic mode. So this works even if it's off. So now what you do is wind it up, and what you're going to want to do is, when it gets to final time mode, activate it with the wizard driver while in magic mode. So this basically kind of shows off how this works in the two different ways to use the dragon's power. The first way is that while using the timer, by pressing the button while in the different zones, Wizard Flame Dragon, who's the only one who can use a Drago timer, can summon clones of himself in Water Dragon, Hurricane Dragon, and Land Dragon styles. And then the choice of what to do comes when it gets to final time. By doing Dragon Formation, all the dragons use their special finisher attacks, using the different dragon parts. But by using it with the Wizard Driver, it turns Wizard into Commander Wizard All Dragon, which gives Flame Dragon all 4 of the different dragon parts, allowing him to fly, lash out with a tail, and slash with the claws, along with the dragon breath from the head. There's also functionality that you can do this while the timer is going.
Set at. Start.
Like so. You can actually hear it's a bow while it's going off there. And if you take it off while it's going through that, you get that. So I'll actually show you that does special sounds for each zone. Bow, Jaban. And you kind of have to keep it near. You. And through the gun. So what is interesting is that the All Dragon sound is only in the Drago timer itself. There's just a generic sound, generic kind of blank sound within the Wizard Driver. But I guess that kind of makes sense because of how it has a built-in ring. Basically, yeah, this is a part of the Drago timer, so even if they did decide that the all-ring sound were to be in the wizard driver, this would still be the only thing to activate because there wouldn't be much reason to... I mean, they couldn't really accurately recreate this in the form of a ring because of how this thing changes colors. And really, so far, we've seen that for the individual rings, they can only have one color in the chip. So in that sense, it kind of makes sense that it would only be in the Drago timer. Another thing is that one other little note is that if you click down the thumb while it's either not fully wound up or not wound at all, you'll get a sound that says not ready.
Not ready. Not ready.
So there's that. Another thing is that, and this is just a little bit of an extra note,
Set up.
that for the different summoning sounds, you don't actually have it to do it in specific 1 Mason, 2 Mason, 3 Mason. You can actually do it, it just matters how many zones.
Final time. 3 Mason.
So as you can see, I did the hurricane zones and the hurricane zone and land zones. So I then still got 3 missions. So yeah, it just depends on how many zones you click it in. And that's basically it for the Drago timer. Now, one of the things I can see people complaining about, and that I know that people have had a problem with, is the mechanism. You know, just the kind of grinding sound that you get going there. And, you know, there are people who kind of wish, and I'm pretty sure there are those that wish that they'd use a different mechanism for the timer. But one thing I would argue is that it's not exactly the mechanism that is a real problem, it's more of the speed that they have it going at. As you can see, with the more pressure that you put on the dial, the slower it goes. And something I can illustrate is that if they were to actually slow it down by putting on more pressure, you would be able to hear the ticker better.
Drago time. Start.
It's faint, but you could probably hear that, you know, while it was slowed down, it made less noise, and so you at least somewhat hear the ticking sound from the speaker. So I think that if Bonnie had engineered it so that there was a little bit more pressure and the timer went on for longer while going at slower speed, then it wouldn't have drowned out some of the sounds. For what it is, I don't really have much of a problem with it because even though it's hard to hear the ticking sound, you can still hear the sounds indicate that it moved to a different zone, as well as the sounds for the different dragon styles when you hit the thumb. So the thing about this is that I would probably only recommend this if you have the wizard driver or the wizard sword gun, as really it doesn't matter which one you use it in, as long as it's reacting to one of those scanners, it'll make those sounds like the all dragon sound and the different announcement sounds for the different zones. And really using a scanner of that type is the only way to actually get the sounds out of this. Before I know, one of the only real ways that a person could get the sounds out of this is if you have a Skylanders video game portal, as it uses the same kind of chip technology as the Wizard Ring. So if you happen to have that, then you could technically activate these sounds, but it's just the proper way to do it is using the Wizard driver. So the other thing is that this isn't completely necessary, as the form sounds are all in this. You're not really getting anything much new out of the Wizard driver, so this is something to get not on its own, but something to get if you have the Wizard driver. To me, it's a nice toy. I like the gimmick. I like how you have this built-in color changing ring, as well as how you've got the different sounds for how many times you click the thumb, as well as how it has announcement sounds for different dragon styles. But like I said, this is really not necessary, but I think it's a good toy, and so I would recommend it if you have the Wizard driver. So, thanks for watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and check out my channel for more videos. And for now, this is Chaotic50, writing off.